Happy Wednesday, guys, and welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. It might be a smaller slate, but still some great games to break down tonight in the NHL. We look forward to doing that for you with some best bets here on the show, some opinions on at least 3 different games. And, of course, I got some props for you guys. And yesterday, we were off a 2-0 night in the prop segment, so feeling good about that. Hopefully have 2 more winners for you guys in that segment for today, including one nice plus money play as well. So without further ado, let's bring in my co-host, Carmine Bianco. What's up, Carm?
What is up? Just another one of those nights, Andrew. Listen, I'm going to get past it. Another one of those nights where my team completely dominates and then finishes on the wrong end. Carolina loses to Nashville, the final XG in that game. And I know people are sick of XG, but it is a good indication of how the chances that your team had. 388 to 184, two clear goals in XG better. But it seemed like that Nashville scored on their few chances on net, 35 to 16 shots on goal. It just seemed like, okay, Carolina's got the puck for about 4 minutes. Nashville's got it for 30 seconds, and they score a goal. It is the most frustrating thing. And then my friends, Andrew, we got a couple of betting groups online, and with my buddies, and they love to poke fun. They're like, "Hey, man, your plays on the show yesterday were fantastic. You win 3-0. It was except for your Pittsburgh Penguins, who you thought were a live dog." And then one guy goes, "Well, they did score the last goal of the game, so to make it close, yeah, 6-1. That's very close." But with that said, apologies on the customer appreciation play for any of you guys that got it. We're going to get back in that saddle and pump out some winners. We're going to talk Montreal. Sorry, we're not talking Montreal, St. Louis. We're talking Vancouver, New York Islanders, the Boston Bruins. Listen to that guy in the comments who says we don't talk about the Bruins. We're talking about the Bruins today as they play the Anaheim Ducks. Andrew, your prop playlist. And Dallas Stars, Edmonton Oilers, the Stars favorites in Edmonton, but of course the injuries have a big part to do with that best bet segment. And then I'll throw out a little contest at the end for tonight where we're going to give away some prizes. But the man from Mexico, you're unfrozen. So let's bring him in. Don Buster, welcome to the show. I know you're a little saddened by the Montreal Canadiens losing yesterday, but the Sabres did you guys a favor and knocked off the Ottawa Senators. So how you feeling this morning?
Well, I was feeling really good, except for all of a sudden my screen went frozen on me. So, but then I think it was just a little technical difficulties. So hopefully things will work all right. Yeah, you're right. I'm not too happy about Montreal losing, but I tell you, they've been really, really playing well. So, they're going to throw in a game like that every once in a while. It's still in a playoff spot. So far, so good.
All right, I guess it's back to me. Carm is muted, so that's our indication to get back to the games. We'll start the games up.
I'm not muted.
Oh,
You're
no.
muted. I'm not muted. Okay. Anyways, let's get right to it because we got a lot to discuss on today's show. New York Islanders, Buster, minus 125. Vancouver plus 105. Vancouver gets a couple late ones, tying it up twice in the third period late, win it in OT. They're still in the mix there, but the Calgary Flames ahead of them with a big OT win yesterday. Nazem Kadri with the goal in OT. How are you playing this one? 2 teams with playoff aspirations still.
Yeah, Carmine, this is going to be a huge playoff type game for sure. We'll be saying that a lot coming up in these next 3 weeks. Games that are going to be playoff importance because there's a lot of teams looking for that last spot in those wild card spot. Both these teams are on the outside looking in Vancouver in the West and the Islanders in the East, but they're right there. Vancouver have lost 3 out of the last 5 games. But they did win in a shootout in their last game against New Jersey. Now, the Islanders, they've won 3 of their last 5 games, But the 2 losses, they've been in overtime and a shootout. So, you know what? They could literally be on a 5-0 run, right? They could have 5 wins in a row. So the Islanders did win the only meeting between these clubs. Mind you, that was in November, 5-2 in Vancouver. And Vancouver's on a long road trip here. They're going to be on their 4th game tonight on a 6-game road trip. So I think that's a little tough to me. I think it's a much better spot for the Islanders here. I've actually been going against this Vancouver club the last couple of weeks. Had some success there, but lately they have been playing much better hockey. There's no doubt about that. They have, but the game's at a pick now. I saw it was minus 120 early. It's at a pick. Like the Islanders here at a pick, because like I say, I think they're playing a lot better hockey than people are giving them credit for. You know, they could be at 5 on a 5-game win streak. As a total here is at 5.5, and of course at 5.5, I think it's 5.5 under 35 now. Not sure what you guys think of this. Maybe does it get to 5? Maybe it does. I'm not sure. But anyways, these teams, when they get together, though, they have now gone over the total in 9 streams. Vancouver, they've been playing to the over steady of late. They're 7-1 to the over the last 8. And the Islanders, 5 straight overs. So, you know, it kind of throws that whole thing off about the 5.5 there. You might get 5. Let's hear what you guys have to say about that. We might get a 5 because it's 5.5 under 35 in some markets. But that makes me just pass that total. I like the Islanders as a small play here at a pick.
You know, it's one of those games, Buster, where you kind of like look at that opening line, look at that line movement. You're kind of wondering here what's going on because, you know, like you said, based on that travel for the Canucks, you would think that it would be the other way around a little bit because of the travel. But, you know, as you mentioned, the money kind of coming in that direction. From my perspective, looking at, again, minus 125 opener for the Isles and current price just around pick, as you mentioned. Here's, you know, looking at the expected goals against for the month of March overall. When I look at these two teams, it's relatively equal overall here, but the Islanders have actually been the team that, you know, on a large scale, I'm looking over the past 4 or 5 weeks, they're in that bottom 10, 11, 12 as far as expected goals against. Expected goals for might be a little bit closer. But the funny thing is I've noticed with this Islanders team is they have to sacrifice a ton of defense in order to create offense. Like Tony DeAngelo, it's kind of a crazy story for him this year, you know, going from the KHL and then making his way back into the NHL and then signing with the Islanders. As much as he might not be the best defensive defenseman sometimes, he jumps into the rush offensively. He does join the rush offensively. Noah Dobson, he is, you know, not overly known as an offensive defenseman. He's a good, you know, two-way defenseman, but he jumps into the rush. But I think they're sacrificing defense for their offense. So I like the over in this game overall. I do like the over 5.5. Buster talked about it. When these two teams get together, we do see goals, but I am going to lean towards the Vancouver Canucks side. With this movement, I'm going to follow the money, follow the movement here in this one, the overnight movement. And I think this Vancouver team is the better squad overall. So we'll see if the fatigue and the travel is a factor here in this one. And, you know, some people would argue it's a good thing for teams to be playing in a lot of tight games. And some people would also argue, well, if a team is consistently playing in tight games, then eventually things are going to start turning for them. And you see their loss against the Blue Jackets 4-3 in overtime in a shootout, loss against the Flames 4-3 in overtime. And then when they beat the Canadians and then they beat the Penguins, they were all by small margins. So I just think that this team kind of is just getting by at this moment. Don't get me wrong. They've gone on a good streak. And right now, they're kind of the team that's right behind the Canadians that are hunting for that second wild card spot. But I have faith in Vancouver. Carm, I'm going to go over to you with this. I got to give you credit because you were talking a lot about the goaltending situation in Vancouver. And you know, you were talking about, hey, is it healthy for this guy? I mean, you just won't say anything like this in the NBA or MLB or anything like that. But is it healthy for them to risk putting out Thatcher Demko? And then in the game, it was Devils versus Canucks. Afterwards, Quinn Hughes couldn't have spoken higher about Demko. He couldn't have said better things about the 2-on-1 saves, the slot chance saves, the high point saves. This guy was an absolute animal. And if this team gets a little bit of goaltending and their defense starts playing better, maybe they make a run as well. Because Calgary, they won again last night, and I was pissed because I was on the Kraken and they were up. But Calgary's playing well. You know, you've got the Canucks, of course, and then, of course, Utah battling for that final wildcard spot in the West. So as much as you know I've been following it in the East, the Western wildcard race is good as well.
Andrew, it's always going to come down to it. You don't want to see players get injured. I made that case before, like the Four Nations, face off. But with regards to, you look at these teams. It's an 82 game season. It is a long season. You can start fantastic. It's how you finish. You look at the Winnipeg Jets last year, had a great season, then fizzled out in the first round of the playoffs, losing to Colorado. Vancouver had a great season last year. Definitely not a great season this year, but if they squeak into the playoffs and get a couple bodies back into the lineup, can they make a run? If they finish in that somehow finish in that eighth spot, they're going to meet the Winnipeg Jets in the first round of the playoffs. So an all Canadian matchup. So we'll see what happens, as far as that goes. But, with that said, sorry, there's a little bit of noise in the background here, guys. It sounds like I'm strangling a bird. It really isn't. But with regards to this game, Andrew, I like the over with you. The 5.5. Normally, Islander games, I'm looking at the unders for them, but there haven't been any unders of late. And if you look at the last 9 meetings between these two teams, they've gone over the total. It is such a weird dynamic between these two teams, and we'll see, because it's two teams that you would expect to play defense tonight because they're both in need of points, and maybe this one does go to overtime. With as we like to refer to them, the Thailanders. The overtime odds on this one are plus 295 on FanDuel on DraftKings for this game to be tied after 60 minutes. Shared points, who knows? It could very well happen. Vancouver was happy to get into OT against New Jersey. They could be happy to get into OT against the Islanders, pick up at least a point, and maybe hope for 2 points. They played 3 games less, I think 3 games less than St. Louis, and they're 5 points back. So they're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination, but they have to win those games in hand for them to mean anything, and this is one of them. So maybe that has a little bit to do with the line drop. It is Sorokin confirmed for the Islanders, but it's looking like it's Lankinen for Vancouver. Buster, I'm going to go to the second game, and then I'm going to mute myself here. Boston Bruins, Anaheim Ducks, minus 125 on Anaheim. They open up minus 110. Plus 105 is a take back on the Bruins. 6 under 15 is the total. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, last game we talked about 2 teams that are going to be going for the playoffs. Here we got a couple teams that are just playing out the rest of the season. It's funny, once Boston got rid of Marchand, basically was a give-up move, if you ask me. Although they've lost now 6 games in a row, so it kind of shows that. And number 7 actually could be tonight too. I'm not too sure, how much they got in this Bruins club. Boston does play the Anaheim Ducks here they're not playing too well themselves. That's a problem. They've lost 3 of their last 4. So when you see games like this at the end of the season, it's all about who's going to get some points. So you're going to have to start looking at those 2 real bad teams. We've talked about this during the year. 2 bad teams, maybe you get some overs here, just because it's all about incentives, points, for the players, right? See if they get to 50 points for whatever the incentives may be. So the defensive incentive isn't there as much, even though maybe the coach wants it to be there. But like I said, I'm not too sure who even wants to win this game. I would actually lean a little bit to Anaheim because they are at home, and Boston, like I say, has lost 6 straight. But I would probably, like I say, I'd lean Anaheim, but it's not going to make my card, that's for sure. As for the totals, at 5.5, and now it's up to 6. It was 5.5 in some of the markets. You might get a 5.5 over 30 right now, but there's a lot of 6s out there now. I still do like that. I like it over a bit. As I said, going back with that theory that we've all used in the past for years, you get those 2 bad teams that haven't really have much to play for. You see a lot of overs. Boston has gone 4-2 to the over the last 6. Anaheim's went over 3 of their last 4 games. Yeah, this is one of the, I know it's a small slate tonight, only 4 games. It's a tough handicap here. I pass the side, but I do lean to the over.
Buster, I kind of feel the same way with regards to the total. 2 teams, nothing going on. We talked about the Bruins, I think on yesterday's show, but we talked about, what is going on in that dressing room. And I think this team is just, they're playing out the season. Let's get to the off season. And you always worry about teams like that, especially when they're playing teams that are trying to make the playoffs, which is not the case now. You want a team to be competitive, but the Bruins just aren't being competitive, losing 7-2 to the LA Kings, losing to the Sharks 3-1, 5-1 to Vegas, 3-2 to the Sabres, and 6-2 to Tampa Bay. Their last 5 games, they just have not looked good. Do guys want to get in front of those shots and block shots on power plays and during O-zone time when they're in their defensive zones? Probably not. They just want to finish off these last 8 or 9 games, get into the off season, and sometimes that sets it up for some pond hockey. So I'm going to look at it a couple ways. I like Anaheim in the spot. It'll likely be like a small client play. And I might take that first period over and look for some goals in that first period. So those are my thoughts on the game. Andrew, you're deep in thoughts. I know you're going to come up with a winner in this game. What do you got?
You know what, guys? A lot of times I've tried to learn this year about respecting the numbers, and I've been using the odds logic page here, and of course the WagerTalk live odds screen, and looking at the opening numbers, looking at current numbers, and you try and make sense of it, right? And you look at these numbers and you think to yourself, okay, this number is what it is for a reason, right? But I think at this point we may have reached the point. This is a big maybe here, guys. We may have reached the point where people are going to be excited to bet against the Bruins. Like, people are absolutely given up on the Bruins. And it's kind of like one of those things when everybody is finished with the team, when everybody doesn't believe in somebody anymore, they're going to give it that one last kick at the can. And, the Nashville Predators are kind of doing that right now with some of their games. And you got some teams that are going to do that just to remind people and just to screw with Bruins fans for that draft pick that they're so desperately wanting. Because if they don't keep losing, they're going to end up like the Pittsburgh Penguins and not get a good draft pick. I know this is very different situations and circumstances because obviously this is a horrid losing streak. But I talked about yesterday on the show, Craig Berube, the head coach of the Leafs, dropping F-bombs, stopping practice, making some noise, the players talking about things being unacceptable. This seems to me like this could be a spot early on, forget about full game early on for the Boston Bruins to get going here and have a good first period at plus 105. It's up to you guys if you want to trust them for the full game. Plus 105 first period, I think that they got to come out and give it their best effort. And this Anaheim Ducks team, Buster talked about the matchup between these two teams over the years. And let's be honest, this team is pretty much dead last still. Bottom 5 as far as shots on goal given up, dangerous scoring chances, slot chances given up. So, guys, this Ducks team's been more fun to watch this season, but it doesn't mean their defense has gotten a hell of a lot better. So I think we're living in a world now where, as it stands, the Boston Bruins are becoming a popular team to bet against, which is kind of crazy to think because 2 years ago, guys, they broke the single season record for wins in 1 year. and now they're becoming a fun team and popular team for people to bet against. So I'll give them a shot in the first period at plus 105 to see what they've got in the opening 20 minutes. You got Swayman making comments. You got Zadorov making comments. You got the head coaching staff making comments. Let's see what this team can do in the opening 20 minutes. I'll take plus 105 first period on the Bees.
Andrew, I don't blame you. It is so weird. I'm not used to seeing the Bruins play as bad as they're playing right now. Sometimes you just write off a season. You look at the New York Rangers. Sometimes you just got to write off a season and say, for lack of a better word, you guys played like ass most of the year. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs. It's kind of like the feeling we had about the Washington Capitals last season, minus 40, squeak in by 1 point, get into the playoffs, and then they're pretty much one and done in the first round. But kudos to the Caps, man. Watching the Washington Winnipeg game, on a side note, last night with no action on it, was fantastic. These two teams just went at it. Ovechkin, another goal. I'm really hoping he breaks the record this year. What's he, 5 or 6 goals away from it? It should be interesting. There are some props up at different books on whether he'll break it during the regular season or not. But I think the Bruins are just, let's get to the end of the season. The problem is with some of these games, the competitive ones, like we talked about, Vancouver and the Islanders, two teams with something to play for. So you're going to get a complete effort from both teams. The Bruins in Anaheim, what do they have to play for? So you don't know whether you're going to get an effort out of either one of them. With that said, Andrew, I'm going to send it to you for some prop bet winners before we tee up the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers.
Let's do it, Carmen. We did cash in yesterday. We went 2-0 with the player prop segment. So let's try and do it again here today. We got some points we did well with. We've got some shots on goal we did well with. And today we have an assist prop and we have a shots on goal prop to look at. Before I jump into these two props, guys, we got a big play going tonight in the NHL. But forget about buying the big play. Use this promo code Win Week 25. Win Week 25 will take 25% off a full week at WagerTalk.com of all my plays. You are going to get NHL, 5% plays included. MLB plays, opening day is tomorrow. Any NCAA basketball plays I release for the remainder of this next week. All right, you're going to get UFC on Saturday. Win Week 25 is a great promo code. Forget about the regular price. We're going to slap 25% off of that regular package. And you're going to get my 5% play tonight. It's going to go for $35 at WagerTalk.com. So join me, guys. Let's cash these tickets. And promo code WinWeek25 is a good one. So join me at WT.buzz/AM. Starting things off with a player on the Islanders who I mentioned already today on PuckTime. That's Tony DeAngelo to get an assist at plus 145. He has 4 straight assists playing at home, and he has 8 in his last 11 home games. Yet the price here, guys, is plus 145. Islanders currently competing for that final wild card spot in the East. And as I talked about today on PuckTime, they've kind of been sacrificing some defense for offense, and their defensemen are jumping up into the rush. Tony DeAngelo is one of those defensemen joining the rush, contributing offensively. And man, I just love that plus 145 price tag. So we'll try and cash that, guys. Looking at Tony DeAngelo to get us an assist at plus 145. And this one is a bit more chalky, of course, but I really do like this one. Elias Lindholm from the Boston Bruins, minus 145 over 1.5 SOGs, guys. Shot on goal. It's a high price, but the Bruins are going to be incredibly desperate. They just got slapped around in their last game by a really, really bad team. They've been losing to bad teams, but they just lost to the LA Kings. This is hit in 6 of the last 7 games Lindholm has played against the Ducks, and the Ducks give up the most shots on goal in the entire league, 32.2 shots on goal allowed per game on the season. So DeAngelo to get an assist, Lindholm over 1.5 shots on goal. And of course, that promo code WINWEEK25, 25% off a week of plays at WagerTalk.com. And speaking of that, Carm, before I throw back to you, I will just mention the great deal we have that got launched at WagerTalk this morning for the MLB opening week. Of course, it is a hockey show, but if any of you guys are interested in baseball plays from Buster, Carmine, myself, any other handicappers at the website, $49 for the first 7 days of baseball plays. That's the deal you're getting. Everybody's excited. Kind of the weather's starting to get nicer here, especially on the East Coast. I'm not freezing anymore going out for walks. $49, guys, for a full 7 days of baseball plays. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. We got some afternoon games as well. So if you want to pick your handicappers of your choice, see how they're handicapping, see what they're all about for the first 7 days, just $49 at Major League Baseball, WagerTalk.com. Back to you, Carm.
All right, I'm having an argument with my pet who just doesn't want to stop making noise. But Buster, with that said, Edmonton Oilers plus 130 at home, Dallas minus 150. 6 over 15 is the number on this one. And if anyone's wondering why the line is where it is right now, it is because Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are still listed as day-to-day. So with these guys out of the lineup, it's a different looking Edmonton Oilers team as far as the lines go for the Oilers. Nugent Hopkins, Arvidsson, I can't even pronounce that guy's name, Podzolkin, Perry, Enrique, and Hyman on the second line, Skinner, Janmark, and Brown on the third line. Buster, are you still tempted? They beat the Kraken at home. They're tied with LA. This is a big one for the Oilers just as much as it is for Dallas. How are you breaking this one down?
Yeah, Carmine, this is the best game of the 4 of the night, that's for sure, even with Edmonton being shorthanded here. But I've already gave this out to my clients as Dallas is the best bet. This is my game, my 4% best bet that's up on at the site at WagerTalk.com. So please, well, if you're watching this show, you're getting that bet right here, right now. So do not buy that package because that is the play. So it pays to watch PuckTime sometimes, especially when we get the win tonight with Dallas. Edmonton are winners 4 of the last 5 games, but as you mentioned, Carmine, Draisaitl, McDavid, I got to believe tonight against quality of the Dallas Stars, that catches up with them. Maybe not so they got away with it the last game against Seattle. I don't see it tonight. Dallas has won 3 of their last 4 games, and this is going to be that first game of a 4-game road trip for Dallas. And it's actually kind of a little bit of a weird road trip because the last 2 games, they play Seattle like on a back-to-back. I think they play Sunday and then Tuesday or something like that. They play 2 straight games in Seattle, so that's a little strange. But anyways, yeah, I like playing a team like Dallas of that kind of quality in that first game because that first game, as we've often talked about for years on the show, the team wants to get a good start off that road trip. And I got to believe Dallas caught a break here with the Oilers being shorthanded. Another reason I like Dallas here too is that their special teams should benefit as well with a shorthanded Oilers club. They're the number 1 penalty killer in the NHL, Dallas are. Also, now that Mikko Rantanen is on that club, I don't know if you've been watching their power play lately. It might not be, they might not have had as much success, but it looks fantastic with him on there, and it's just going to get better. So they have an advantage there too, especially going up against the Oilers who rank 20th on the penalty kill. Now, I know Rantanen got hurt the last game, but he came back. He put on a face shield and came back. I expect him to play tonight. I expect Dallas to win this game. As for the total, it's going to be a pass for us. Dallas are 5-2 to the under their last 7. Edmonton are 3-2 to the over. They played twice, 1 over, 1 under this season. We passed the total here. Really like Dallas to get the job done tonight.
All right. Buster, I'm with you on Dallas. This is, like I said, this is just as big a game for Dallas. They have a couple games in hand on Winnipeg, and I know that you could look at it and say, well, you win those 2 games in hand, and you're only 4 points back of Winnipeg for the number 1 seed. So maybe, they're thinking that way. But more importantly, I think, is finishing ahead of Colorado. If you've got to play them, you want to have home ice. I think home ice is so important right now. And the Oilers were able to squeak by the Kraken, Andrew, but Dallas is, I won't say miles ahead, but levels ahead of where the Seattle Kraken are right now. This is just, they seem like a complete team with a very good goalie. Obviously, you want to see Ottinger in goal tonight, and he should be in goal tonight. Lane 150 on the road in Edmonton is always a little, do I want to do it? But I think this is the spot where you have to. So I'm going to take Dallas. What are your thoughts?
Carm, I got to say this. I'm curious. We'll go around. Like the opening number minus 160. Pinnacle and Circa right now minus 130, 135. I haven't seen any reports come out, but I mean, that has to indicate something to us, right? I mean, I feel like a 30-point move, a 35-point, a 25-point move probably means that one of the two guys are playing. If not, it certainly means people are like, you know what? This Oilers team just doesn't deserve to be a dog like this, so they got bet down. But 160 opening number to 130 current price at Pinnacle seems a bit confusing. I searched up McDavid. I searched up Leon. But I'm trying to look for news here, and this is kind of the good and bad thing about recording and going live on PuckTime at early part of the day. But I see probable, I see day to day for the listing for this. So, guys, I'm going to stay away from this side at this point from where it stands. But again, it pays to look at the odds screen. It pays to look at the movements. And pretty much the sharpest of books right now have all just crashed down on this line right now. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The last game that we saw the Oilers play, and as Carmine mentioned, they kind of rallied around the injury. This seems to happen every single time that a key player in any team, league, sport, whatever it is, goes out. The players rally around that, and they kind of put up goals. They have secondary players step up. They have secondary players play much better. And, well, who stepped up? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. People talk about kind of the Batman Robin, the Pippen and Jordan. Well, whatever the nickname would be for the third guy or fourth guy, that's probably Nugent-Hopkins. I think after Leon and Connor, it's probably, Zach Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins. Nugent-Hopkins stepped up with a hat trick. He scored 3 goals against the Kraken. But, guys, I'm going to go with the under in this game here. I'll give out the under 6. Shop around. You can get a very rare 6.5 if you can find it. But I think after an exciting back and forth, high-scoring, thrilling game without the superstars, even if we're without one of those, I like this play, guys. So we'll give out the under. Dallas and Edmonton. This could be one of those games that features two fun to watch teams, highly touted matchups that ends up being more of a defensive game. So I'll take the under 6 in this one here, and keep following those injury reports, guys, because there's got to be a reason for that going minus 160 to minus 135 and 130. So just wanted to throw that out there. Buster, I saw you typing while I was talking about that. I'm sure you're seeing what I'm seeing, but how would you play that knowing the line move?
No, I actually was just typing to Dan and that behind the scenes because I'm a little bit worried about my internet, but it sounds like everything's been just fine here. So
all right.
Unfortunately, Andrew, yeah, when you see a move like that, I'm with you on those kind of things. It gives you pause for concern. Let's just say. Yes. What do you think, Carm?
I don't think there's anything wrong with waiting. You don't need to bet this game right now. It's like the last game on the card. I don't think you need to bet it now. Wait for the morning skate, see if Draisaitl is out there for the morning skate, or see if McDavid's out there. But the report this morning, probably about 3 hours ago, when I was going through team reporter notes and for each team, the line combinations were pretty much going to remain the same as they were for the Seattle Kraken game. So anytime there's some type of a line movement, obviously it is alarming. You wonder, okay, what am I missing here as far as this game goes, or is there an announcement on players? So there's no need to bet it until later. I had a play on the Edmonton Oilers against the Seattle, and that I released, and then 5 minutes after posting the play, the news came out about the players not being available. So I had an alert sent out to the customers, not that it was no longer a play. I'm not going to take the Edmonton Oilers if they're missing Draisaitl and McDavid. So wait on this one. There's no harm in waiting. There's no need to rush a bet for the last game of the night in the NHL. So we'll see what happens there. I've searched for it during the break. I don't see anything as well. Buster, let us know what you have up at WagerTalk. And I've seen the messages in the chat, guys, in the live chat. Our mics sound fine on this end, so it might be something that's coming through the YouTube, because my mic and Andrew sound perfectly fine behind the scenes. So it might be just a YouTube issue. With that said, Buster, what do you have up at WagerTalk, and give us a show best bet?
Okay, thank you very much, Carmine. As Andrew has mentioned, the powers that be put up a package this morning with Major League Baseball. It's 7-day all access for only $49 to start off the Major League Baseball season. That's with for all the cappers at WagerTalk that do baseball. We actually had a great MLB season last year, plus 45 units on the year. Looking forward to another good season of Major League Baseball. So you can go check that out on our homepage at Don Buster at WagerTalk.com. And as I said, we do have a 4% play up, and we do have Dallas in that play. So do not buy that play. You watch the show, you got a free 4% play from Don Buster. And as you mentioned, Carmine, just want to comment a little bit more. Everything that is said is that those McDavid and Draisaitl, they weren't even going to play for like the next 3-4 days. So that's what the Oilers did tell everybody, the whole Canadian American media. So, but again, you know how those things work here. They don't like to give up their position, these clubs, in any sport, really. So anyways, our show play for today will be a prop play in that Dallas-Edmonton game. And we're going to go with Matt Duchene to get a point, minus 125. Now, Matt's been playing some excellent hockey of late. He's had a point in 5 straight games, and he's also had points in the last 2 games when he has played Edmonton. So I like that. He's on the number 2 power play, and he will have be playing against an Edmonton club that should be shorthanded. I fully believe that those 2 guys will not play tonight. So that's Matt Duchene to get a point, minus 125. Want to thank both you, Carmine and Andrew, for having me on today. Much appreciated. Best of luck with all your plays, everyone. It's the Sweet 16 coming up, start of Major League Baseball. Lots going on. Best of luck with all those plays. And as always, have a great day.
All right, Buster. We always enjoy having you on. I'm going to get you on some double duty, possibly not next week, but the week after. So you might want to take a couple days off from that farm that you're working at in order to do some PuckTime shows with us. Just kidding, my friend. So Andrew, we need a contest. I got to give out some PuckTime merch. So for you guys in the live chat, do not put your answer in the live chat. Wait for this video to be posted or uploaded and leave it in the comment section, because I can't go through the live comments. Tonight's is very easy. All right. Give me the grand salami. How many goals are going to be scored across all 4 games tonight? And then, as the tiebreaker, who wins the Boston Anaheim game? So, how many goals get scored in all 4 games combined? And then the winner of the Boston Anaheim game. If just remember, if you get it correct, it doesn't mean you automatically win, because there's going to be other people who win as well too. So I will choose one of those people and send you out some PuckTime merch. How's that sound? My best bet is going to be the Anaheim Ducks minus 125 against the Bruins. This is going to be a client play. There's no other NHL that I like tonight. I might take the first period in that game as well too, but I'm going to leave it at that. So there'll likely be no card up, just some client plays for me tonight. And then we'll be back in full force tomorrow when Brian Leonard is here. We always enjoy having him on the show. So no soccer today for me either, Andrew. A nice profitable day in soccer yesterday. Let's see if we can keep that rolling into the weekend. There's some great games this weekend. So pick up that deal that WagerTalk has going on. Andrew, give us a show best bet and close it out.
Well, Carm, first and foremost, thank you for the soccer winners, because I did follow along with both of those games. So nice to hit that total. That was a real nice total to cash. Love how soccer games could have like no goals for the first 25 minutes and then just come to life with a ton of goals. That's always the best. So make sure you guys are checking out Carmine's soccer plays. But guys, a big play going for me tonight in the NHL. I like it, and I feel like lately I've been almost better on these smaller slates than the bigger ones. Those big slates can be overwhelming. You know, the smaller slates, I'm narrowing in, I'm doing my work and finding the best bets possible. And I got a big play going tonight in the NHL, but forget about buying the one play. Again, that promo code WINWEEK25, 25% off the full week. $35 is the cost for my 5% play today. All right, you'll pay that off with 2 5% plays. We got college basketball, we got UFC, we got all kinds of great stuff, and not to mention opening day tomorrow in the MLB. WINWEEK25 is the promo code to use. Guys, my best bet for the show is going to be Devils team total over 3.5 goals minus 105. It's weird. I don't know what's going on here. It was a full day of a show on PuckTime here where I didn't give out a team total. I had to save it for the best bet segment. Devils over 3.5 goals off a loss to the Vancouver Canucks. However, they're playing the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks, well, if we take a look at it, 5 of their last 6 losses, they've given up at least 4 goals. They're off a big win. I don't expect them to duplicate that performance. We'll take the Devils to put up at least a 4 spot on the Hawks. And last but not least, guys, want to mention, unfortunately, the next 2 days, PuckTime will be recorded, so it will not be live. So, guys, don't worry. You'll just find it on our YouTube channel under the videos section. You can find PuckTime posted around 11 a.m. Eastern time, 11:30 Eastern time, I would say. So we will not be live because, well, for just the last week, last call, we'll be taking our spot on Thursday and Friday. Kelly will be hosting that with a lot of great handicappers jumping on to talk college basketball and multiple sports. So make sure you guys don't miss out on PuckTime. You can find us. You can follow Carmine on Twitter, X, at Carmine Bianco WT, and myself on X at McGinnis Picks. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time right here on PuckTime.